Hi, everybody, and welcome to Lake County Sentinel Entertainment Extra Beyond the Gates recap for week 20 of the best soap opera on television, Beyond the Gates. It was a wild week in Fairmount Crest. The big secret that Anita and Martin and others had been keeping since basically the first day the show came on back in February. The secret was revealed. It was revealed that Kenny, the racist who had been basically stalking Martin and his family recently, it turns out that they attempted to assault Vernon and Martin when Martin was changing a tire 2 years ago on the side of a road. Kenny and his racist brother came and started yelling things at Martin and Vernon, and then it escalated when Kenny's brother pulled out a gun and shot or attempted to shoot, was going to shoot Vernon. He pushed Vernon, and then Martin belted him over the head with a tire iron, killing him and beating Kenny to a pulp until where he needed plastic surgery, which Ted performed. So that was another one brought in. And it turns out that Officer Malone and Jacob's dad, Chief Hawthorne, were also involved, and they covered it up. So that's the secret. The secret has come out. And, I guess it was similar to what I expected it to be. I figured it would be something pretty horrific for them to be covering it up like this. And, Nicole is very angry that they kept her out of the loop. I can honestly, I am a white man. But honestly, can any of us honestly say to ourselves that Vernon did the wrong thing covering this up? I can't say he did. Those guys were out to cause trouble that night. All Martin and Vernon were doing is driving home, and they got a flat tire. That's it. It's not like they provoked these guys. These guys got out of that truck to cause problems to two people who did not want to cause problems. And I think, it caused problems, them covering it up. It's a hard situation, and there's going to be a lot of repercussions here in the next months on the show. Smitty already threw Martin out. Nicole is livid that she was kept out of the loop. She's got to just feel like nobody can trust her or nobody can tell her anything. She's got to feel like they all think she's really weak because they keep her out of everything. Ted lied to her for decades. Well, now she found out Ted lied to her again and had been lying to her for 2 years about something, keeping a secret. Danny doesn't know any of this yet. Danny, she'll go with the flow. She'll probably be a little disappointed that no one said anything. She'll be mad at Bill, for keeping it from her, even though he was already probably cheating on her at that point. So that isn't the only secret he kept from her. But the press conference, I knew when you saw Marcel come behind Kenny and have the gun, I knew that it was over. I knew they were going to kill Kenny. Although, is Kenny really dead? I think he is, but you never know. If they need him in 4 or 5 years, he could come back. But it's a storyline. There's a lot of things that could come out of this. It'll be interesting to see how much madder Nicole now is at Ted. She really went off on Anita, didn't she? Daphne Duplex, that was some great acting. That was a great scene. It's one of those scenes that you're going to remember for years. It'll be when something's there. That was one heck of a scene. But there wasn't a lot going on with a lot of the other storylines this week were kind of put to the back. Anita returned. She's for now, the Articulate reunion is off. I still think we're going to see something, but they could stretch that out a little bit. There should be some trust where he could have told him. So I can't blame Smitty for throwing him out. Do I think they'll get back together? Yeah, I think they'll get back together. I mean, I just really do. So I have to say the press conference, the press conference Martin was going to have with, where he was going to tell everything. The press, the press, come on beyond the gates. Come on, producers of the show. I love this show. I think it's a great show, but how about portraying media people in a little better light, not making it like they're a bunch of a-holes, or idiots. I really didn't like that, how they portray the media on the show. I'm a member of the media, and it's not like that. Okay. Basically, when we're sitting there at a press conference and nothing's going on, we're really not talking about the press conference usually. We're talking about other stuff. So I think some of that was just, but that's kind of a side thing. Let's, the Ashley, Andre, Danny storyline. There wasn't much with that this week. It began the week with Andre in bed with Danny. Ashley was calling him. That was beautiful. Ashley, and I'm going to repeat it again. This is the 20th week of the show, and I believe I think this is our 17th recap. And I think I've mentioned it in the 16 previous ones. Please write Ashley out of the show. Please write Ashley out of the show. She is an annoying and terrible character. The show will be just fine without her. Let her go. Goodbye. Nothing against Jen Morgan, but please get rid of Ashley. She's a terrible character. So I'm so sick of that. Let Andre and Danny be together. They're good together. They're good chemistry. The storyline that did have they showed it a little bit this week that I think is interesting was the Chelsea and Madison, and Chelsea's ex. She is crazy. And that's going to be interesting. That's definitely going to become a stalker storyline. No doubt about it. So don't be surprised when that happens. I could see, kidnapping and who knows what, but something that's going to be a good storyline. Chelsea's ex is crazy. She's crazy. And I really think now, I mean, it wasn't too much about it this week, but Haley's lying. There's no way that Haley's pregnant. She's lying. And I don't know why. I don't know what her reasons for faking a pregnancy would be. She already has Bill. They're married. But this could cause the end of their marriage with her lying like this. So, yeah, that's kind of it kind of doesn't make any sense to me why Haley would lie about that. So, I don't know really what Joey Armstrong's original, getting back to the Martin storyline, I don't know what Joey Armstrong's original role in the cover-up was. Maybe it was because he has connections that Marcel and Chief Hawthorne used when they disposed of the body and got Kenny, the racist, out of the country. So maybe Joey had something to do with that, but I don't know. Joey's another character that I wouldn't mind if they just got rid of, wrote him out of the show. It's kind of annoying. And I'm not, as I've said before, I've never really been a John Lindstrom fan. Really, I guess of any of the characters he's played. I'm just not a fan of, of him. I mean, he's been on a bunch of shows I watched. I've just never been a fan of him. So with all that, next week will be interesting to see all the fallout that'll go on with Martin's secret coming out. And so many different people are affected by this secret. Pretty much everybody on the show is affected by the secret, except the whiny Jen, but she'll make herself part of it because that's what she does. She's a whiner and she's got to be the center of attention. How about her getting mad? The Shanice Derek date. She's there with somebody else. She's there with Andre, and she's jealous that Shanice is there with Derek. Get over yourself, lady. Just get over yourself. All right, so here we go. We've got today is July 18th. I've talked about on the show before how much I love soap operas and that I've loved them since I was a kid. But July 18th is a special day for me because it is my mom's. If my mom were still alive, it would be her 89th birthday. And she passed away when she was 63. But my mom is the reason I watch soap operas. My mom is the reason I love soap operas. My mom is the reason I wanted to be a soap opera writer. But, I wouldn't be watching this soap opera today or Beyond the Gates or doing this podcast if it wasn't for my mom. Because my mom loves soaps. I remember she watched when I was pretty little. I remember her watching Young and the Restless. And then she watched that for long. But I remember her friend would come over and they would watch All My Children. I remember watching Ryan's Hope with my mom. I do remember, and I think it was on before Young and the Restless. My mom used to watch Search for Tomorrow. And I remember when it was another Procter & Gamble production, like Beyond the Gates is. And I remember, I don't know how old I was, but there used to be department stores, Uncle Bill's. And I remember we would watch Search for Tomorrow. And the main character on there, Joe Turner, who was on there for the entire run of the show from 1952 to 1986. I remember she was a singer too. She sung like folk songs, I think, And I remember she released an album. And I remember my mom and I went down to Uncle Bill's in Willowick, Ohio. It's right next to my town, Wickliffe. And we went to Uncle Bill's, and Mary Stewart, Joe Turner from Search for Tomorrow, was signing her record album. And I remember my mom got the album. My mom, she signed my mom's album, and then she talked to me. I remember she was the sweetest, nicest lady. I don't know how old I was. I might have been like, gosh, I don't know. I don't even know if I was 10 years old. But I remember her being so nice to me. I might have been like 6. But I remember her saying to me, and I'm a little kid. I might get emotional because it's just a good memory, when you do things with your mom, you don't forget them, and you remember them because they're very special. I remember Mary Stewart saying to me, if I ever go like this, I'm saying hi to you. She meant on the show, if she ever did that, she was saying hi to me. And, we would watch the show, and she'd do it every once in a while. And, I didn't realize at that time that it was like a nervous thing she had that she would do. But to me, she was saying hi to me. And I remember watching the final episode of Search for Tomorrow in 1986. And she did that during the show. I was old enough to know at that point that, it was a nervous twitch, but I also thought, how many people did she tell that through the years? And maybe she was saying goodbye to us because the show was over. But that's how much soap operas mean to me. And that's why I love Beyond the Gates, because I watch it from the beginning. And forever, however long I live, I'm going to watch it. And hopefully at some point, my granddaughters are over. I have a new granddaughter. She was born on the 7th. And hopefully at some point, they'll watch Beyond the Gates with me. And maybe they'll like it, and maybe they'll fall in love with soap operas. The world's different now. I know kids have many things now, but maybe they will. But on this day, that would be my mom's 89th birthday. I just wanted to talk about her a little bit and talk about how much I love soaps and explain why I love soaps. I can remember my mom telling me, oh, this happened on All My Children today when I would come home from work, or, she started watching Santa Barbara with me. Santa Barbara came on July 20th, 1984. And 17 years later, Santa Barbara was my favorite soap. But 17 years to the day that Santa Barbara came on, my son was born. And I told him that as long as he, when he was old enough to understand, that it just, him being born made that even a greater day. But I hope that I didn't bore you with the stories of my mom. Next week, we'll get back to just Beyond the Gates talk. But I wanted people to know a little bit about why I love doing this and why I love talking about soap operas. And I'll talk about soap operas to anyone. I've told the boys on our travel baseball team that I love soap operas. And they look at me like I'm nuts anyway. But I value the soap operas. They're a getaway from everything that you go through in life. You can watch your soap and you get buried in that. And then we do this show every week, which I love. I look forward to this half hour or so every week where I can talk about Beyond the Gates. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I do, because I really like this show a lot. And I think that it's got a really bright future. It's got a great cast. From the first day, I thought, this is an amazing show, Beyond the Gates. And I thought, being it's my mom's birthday, I really, if my mom was alive, I feel like we would watch this show together. And if we didn't get to watch it together, we would talk about it. I really think my mom would love this show. I think she'd love Danny. She'd think Danny's great. She'd love Anita and Vernon. I think she'd love the storylines and how they're intertwined, and how everybody knows everybody in Fairmount Crest, because that's where we are. That's where I grew up. I grew up in this city, Wickliffe, Ohio. It's a small little town. Small little town in Ohio. And I'm doing the show from Wickliffe, Ohio, where I grew up. I'm doing it in the house. I filmed the stream here in my house that I grew up in, that my family's lived in now for 56 years. And I can connect with the Duprees because family does matter so much. And when I watch a soap in this house, I think of my mom. And like the Duprees protecting Martin, my mom would have done anything to protect me. So that's just a little bit about, let you know why I love soaps and why Fairmount Crest is a pretty cool place to me. And from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock every day, that's what it is. My son knows to call me before or call me after. Even my friends, my friend I coach with, he called me one day right before, but that was the week the show was on hiatus, week of 4th of July. And I said, "Oh, you're lucky. My soap is on hiatus this week, and I can talk." And he's like, "Oh, that's why I wasn't sure I could call. That's why I texted you first." So let's just pray that the show continues to do well in the ratings, and it stays on for a long time, and that we talk once a week on Friday at 3 o'clock. And hopefully more people will join us. The numbers have been going up. They're still not high, but, maybe we'll get there someday. But it's not about me getting numbers. It's not about me getting famous or something. It's about a place where I can come and talk to people about a soap opera, Beyond the Gates. So we will be back next week. We will, 3:00 at on July 25th. We'll be back. We will be off the next week, but next week we will be on. But hey, until next week at 3:00, stay safe, and maybe I'll see you somewhere around Fairmount Crest.